What is going on, everybody? Oh, it's been a while. I've been redoing the studio, but I saved just enough room and made sure my stuff was hooked up for just one last show. I am joined by Leslie and Sandra. How are you doing this fine evening?
Wonderful.
Leslie, how you doing, man? How you doing?
You know, oh boy, Jesus, Lord, God, Lord, let me just say, first off, ladies and gentlemen, God is good all the time. Oh God, yeah. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another edition of Kaiju Live, where obviously I have my beautiful queen Sandra. You know who I am, Leslie P. Chambers, obviously the biggest advocate for Kong. And obviously tonight we're going to rake me over the coals. I'm prepared for it. I welcome it. I know the comment section has been chomping at the bit to get at me in the trailers. Oh shoot! See?
Oh no!
Okay. Oh boy.
Nerves.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Anyway, like I was saying, I know y'all have been chomping at the bit to get to me, liking the trailers. You know, we've been hearing it for the past 2 months. You know, Godzilla will come for Kong. And I know that y'all Godzilla fans, y'all legendary Godzilla fans, are going to come for me. Now, let me just say this, ladies and gentlemen. I've been all about Kong. You know that. I still stand by it, even though we know what happened, you know, whatever. But let me just say, I've been catching it from all sides, right? It's bad enough that I get it on the internet. But this beautiful queen right next to me, she is Team Godzilla. So it's not like I've been safe within the confines of my own home. I had to hear it not only on the internet. I had to hear it from my beautiful wife, my partner in crime, my everything here. So I've been catching it from all sides, and I caught it last night, and I caught it today, and I'm ready for a fun discussion. Even though I know I'm gonna get what's coming to me in more ways than one, ladies and gentlemen.
So, would you say that this was accurate when you started the day today?
No.
You looked yourself in the mirror and you're like, I'm not going to cry today.
No,
not going to do it.
Believe it or not, after Kong lost twice, I'm not going to shy away from that. I'm not going to do what normal Godzilla fans do in a situation like this. Whenever
since you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. Let's go! Godzilla, baby. Woo! It has happened. After how many G-Fests have you been promoting Team Kong? After how long? This is it. But all jokes aside, I absolutely love the movie, and I think this movie elevated both Godzilla and Kong. Kong was phenomenal. But now continue what you were gonna say. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take it from you there.
Oh no, it's your show. I'm in your world. So, hey, like I said, I've been mentally preparing myself for this moment. I knew from the moment I started talking about Kong and advocating for Kong on Collect All Monsters, on Facebook, on my channel, even coming in on your streams and and starting crap with people, whatever.
Man. It's been a fun ride, man. It's been a great time.
I knew it was a 50-50 chance that Kong was going to lose. And I knew that this thing could go one of two ways. If Kong wins, I have bragging right. If Kong loses, I'm going to get raked over the coals, like I said. But you know what? Since we're addressing the elephant in the room, I'm not going to do what normal Godzilla fans do. When you talk about the feat of Godzilla, I'm going to congratulate you.
Oh, wow.
You know what? He won. He won definitively twice. And you know what? Y'all deserve it. And I'm glad Godzilla got his win back because I still say he won in '62. So therefore, I think that this film, even though I enjoyed the monster sequences, the story kind of came up short for me. We'll talk about that later on.
Yeah.
But in terms of the monster action, it delivered. And even though Kong was on the short end of the stick, I was still thoroughly entertained because Sandra and I were watching it, right? And at that very last part, when Godzilla finally gets the upper hand on Kong and he's, scratching him and clawing him and pushing him down, Sandra's right there. I was like, no, don't, no. Dude. And I knew at that point it was the beginning of the end. And Sandra was like, he got his ass whooped.
That is actually the moment. We'll get into it a little bit later, but that was the moment where I actually lost my shit, so to speak. We were actually watching it, a bootleg version of it in the Kaiju Live Discord, and that part happened, and I was yelling so loud on my mic. Kelly actually came downstairs and was like, "What's going on? Are you okay?" And I was like, "This is the best shit I have ever seen." It wasn't even because he beat Kong there. It was, I've been waiting. Hold on, I got another. We got another little meme for Leslie. There you go. I got plenty of these.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this. Yeah, we're ready.
I know because clearly you got too much time on your hands, so
clearly.
I can understand that.
I had some help.
But like I said, I'm not going to downplay or negate Godzilla's victory. I'm not going to do what normal Godzilla fans do when it comes to Kong. Because when you suggest that Kong won in '62 or anything like that, a lot of people tend to downplay that. No, this happened and that happened. No, Godzilla probably swam away, or this book said it was a draw. Or Toho retracted the statement. Blah blah blah. I'm not going to do that. Because honestly, I was watching the fight scene, and let me just say this: I enjoyed Godzilla in this film.
Yes,
Godzilla was very aggressive in this film. Not evil, because there was a reason behind it, obviously, but this is the Godzilla that I wanted to see since the first trailers for 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And so we finally got to see that on screen, right? And
Absolutely.
The fact he was just savage, the way he brought the fight to Kong was really, really savage. This is the fight scene that I've been waiting for the longest time since the MonsterVerse was a thing, right? The Muto fight was great. The King Ghidorah fight was great, but this was the fight that I was waiting for.
Yes.
I was waiting for. And it delivered. Even though at the expense of Kong, I didn't care, honestly. I just enjoyed it. And I enjoyed what happened at the very, very end, but we'll talk about that later on. But
yeah, let's dive right into it. Let's
see, the thing is, let me just say this and then we go on. It's I was so invested into the fight scene. I was so invested, when Godzilla and Kong are scrapping and Godzilla's getting the better of Kong, I was like, yes. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm on Team Kong. Why am I rooting for Godzilla? But the fight scenes are that awesome that you really, really get into it.
Yeah.
But yes, as you were saying.
All right. So I was gonna say. So what? You go first, Leslie, and then you go after Sandra, and then I'll follow up. So when you watch this movie, what's your favorite part of this movie? What didn't you like about this movie? Give an uninterrupted, full breakdown review. Go ahead, Leslie. Go ahead, and then we'll talk more about how Godzilla beat Kong.
Of course, we're all going to talk about how Godzilla was a ragdoll at the end, but we ain't going to talk about that right now.
Yeah.
We ain't going to talk about that right now. But let me just say that what I most enjoy about this film, basically what I just said. I think the fight scenes and shut up, big girl. That's my dog.
Damn, I was like, oh my God, I didn't say anything.
Oh, nah. You would see a replay of the Godzilla versus Kong.
I mean, even she is Team Godzilla, but hey, whatever. But it's the fight scenes, it's the kaiju sequences, and I have to say that almost not almost, basically every shot of the monsters in this film is gorgeous. Godzilla looks stunning. I think this is the best Godzilla has ever looked in the MonsterVerse. This is the best as Kong looked in the MonsterVerse. The whole beautiful. I mean, the whole film is visually stunning, right? It delivers on that. But I have to say, like the human story, I have to say I actually enjoy King of the Monsters more in terms of a story. Not trying to say this film is bad, but this film, and this has nothing to do with Kong losing people, so don't chew me out on that. But after I watched this film, I was like, I wanted a little bit more. Because now, King of the Monsters was very, very fast paced. This film is even more fast paced. And even though I enjoyed it, I kind of felt that this was like the Joss Whedon Justice League, where I felt like they could have fleshed out the characters. They could have gone more into the history of Godzilla and Kong having this ancient rivalry. They could have done more with explaining what was the deal with Serizawa. Maybe I missed that because I only have seen the film once. I haven't really seen the film multiple times like so many people have thus far. So I've only got just a one clear viewing of this. But there are a lot of things that I felt should have been addressed and didn't get addressed, and I wanted something more from the human scenes. Now, for all those people that I know, when people say something like that, when they say, "Hey, we want something more from the human scenes" or whatever, the first thing they say is, "Well, the movie is called Godzilla versus blah blah blah, and we're here to watch Godzilla versus blah blah blah." Basically, trying to say that the humans don't really matter in terms of the monster action, which I can understand that from a certain extent. But there have been plenty of Godzilla films that have had not only great monster action, but great human stories to go along with it. As long as the human story is good and we have great monster action, that to me is a complete package. Case in point, Monster Zero. Great kaiju action, but almost an even better story. For me, Mothra vs. Godzilla. Great story. Great monster action. Even Son of Godzilla. Yes, it had great monster action, but it had great characters. It had a great human story. You know, the native girl from Son of Godzilla. You know, the head scientist. And that's my whole point. I just wish that the human story could have been a little bit better. In terms of my favorite MonsterVerse films, my least favorite, here's how it goes. My favorite is King of the Monsters. Second is Skull Island. Third is Godzilla vs. Kong. And fourth is 2014. But that doesn't mean that I think the film is a bad film. I just think for me, it could have been better on certain levels. Now, with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to my angel. What did you think of Godzilla vs. Kong?
What we got, Sandra?
Okay. For me, it fell a little short. I did like Godzilla. I like the way the movie started with him coming in. I like the fight scene, but again, the human interaction, it didn't flow with me. Some of that stuff just didn't seem, it was just didn't have enough meat to me, enough substance to me to carry, to kind of balance it out. I absolutely did not like the Mechagodzilla. Absolutely. If it would have had a 74 suit, that would have been good for me. This is just my opinion. Everybody, I know a lot of people like it. A lot of people don't like it. But me, when I'm thinking Mechagodzilla, that was not Mechagodzilla to me. That was something, that's not even something that we've even seen before as a Mechagodzilla. And so
interesting.
That I just didn't care about it. I did not like the score, the music.
Yes.
I did not care about that music. Now, but positive things. I enjoy the fighting. The fighting was great. It was, and I could have kept watching more fighting. I thought that was really, really good. I would have preferred to see the King Kong Skull Island suit on King Kong for this movie.
So you like the younger?
I like the younger because he looked stronger. I kind of see that. This Kong to me looked worn down. Even though he did some good, good, and I did like the sign language part. I thought that was very cool. That was very, very intelligent. And I like that little girl. I think she carried a lot for the human. Yeah, the human side. I think she carried a lot of that movie because there are other characters I didn't, really care about, they didn't flow. Like I said, the whole storyline to me just didn't flow like I thought. I guess my expectation that they had been pumping this thing up for forever and extended it and everything else waiting, it didn't give me everything that I wanted. But like, again, I respect anybody's opinion, but this is just my opinion. The worst part of it, the Mechagodzilla, was just not cutting it for me. It reminds me of Shin, and y'all know I'm not a Shin fan.
Okay.
Sorry, and some people may like the updated Mechagodzilla, but for me, he missed the mark.
Fair enough.
He gave Godzilla, a run for his money, and Kong rip him apart. And then after it was shut down, because the little boy threw the alcohol on and stuff. Yeah, I mean, he's basically nothing, So, Kong just got whooped and scratched and clawed. Godzilla spared his life.
He spared your boy's life. He was like,
yeah, he spared his life. So, Kong should have helped him out.
But still, at the end of the day, though, I like how basically Godzilla beat Kong decisively, definitively, which I enjoy because now we get to say, you know what, Godzilla won here versus that little murky thing back in '62. But I like how they gave Kong some respect too. That basically, with the help of Godzilla, Kong was able to vanquish the monster that had Godzilla beat. And in my opinion, that is the proper way to give respect to those characters. Because even I knew going in that Kong was not going to beat Godzilla. He was not going to beat Mechagodzilla. He was not going to have an undefeated streak. The same with Godzilla. I knew one of the two. One of them had to lose. And I think there was an issue back in 1962. We have these two giant monsters. One is kind of more popular than the other one. But in Toho's case, since King Kong was more popular at the time, their conundrum was how can we get the rub from King Kong's marquee value and have that rub off on Godzilla, but still have Godzilla somewhat lose, but have him look strong in defeat. And I think that was kind of the situation going into this movie here. And even then, even with Kong getting beat by Godzilla, even then, he still tried to get up, and
he tried. Yeah,
he tried. It shows that he wasn't really trying to stay down. And I like that image of when Godzilla got his foot on his chest and he's roaring at him. That to me was like Godzilla saying to Kong, "Stay down." And Kong was like, I don't want to stay down. But then Godzilla walks away, and then Kong tries to get up. And that's the difference, ladies and gentlemen, between a loser than something that lost. And that to me is like, that's how you look strong in defeat. Like I said, I think this was the best way to have both monsters look like winners and have them both protected at the same time, if in case they choose to continue with this MonsterVerse. But at the same time, if they don't, I think this was the most perfect note to go out on in the MonsterVerse, hands down. What do you think, AJ?
Oh man, where do I begin? So I don't want to say I'm a King of the Monsters hater, because that would be wrong. Although I'm sure Leslie would consider me to be one. I love this movie from the perspective of it knew exactly what it wanted to do and be. So like the human characters they're not cringy like they were in King of the Monsters, where we had terrible jokes like, a guy calling Ghidra gonorrhea and stuff like that, where it's like, what? Why is this here? Where the characters are just fun enough to give them a pass, and they just take you from point A to point B to point C. Team Godzilla, like Millie, that whole, like, you can probably cut all those characters out and it's a better movie, probably. But none of it got in the way, and that's what I really appreciated. I love that a lot of the storytelling elements are done visually, as opposed to like in King of the Monsters, where every time something happens, they have to point to somebody to tell you what you just saw or maybe not have seen. And it was like, okay, I get it. Whereas in this movie, like for instance, I loved that they basically, to get Godzilla riled up and to make him look like the bad guy, they basically put the orca in Mechagodzilla's eye. So like next time you watch it, because I know you only watched it once, like that first scene where, which is an awesome scene where you see Godzilla like in the foreground and there's that Mechagodzilla eye and the character Bernie's looking at it like, what the hell is that? Like it's making the same sound as the orca. So like they're basically, and again, they don't tell you that. Like it's not, there's no one sits that, like you just, if you just, it's the same sound effect. And it's like, and then Serizawa later on in the film even says, after they, I don't know, Wi-Fi download their power source, which is, woo, like I have issues with the film too, even though I absolutely love it. Like that's just, you know, nonsensical stuff. Even then when they get that, he's like, you know, if we turn Mechagodzilla on, Godzilla's going to come straight for us. So like basically Mechagodzilla, they wanted him to be like, I'm the alpha and send out those alpha signals. So basically the Titans would come to him and he would just kill them. At least that's what I took from it. Again, it's never explained because Serizawa's character, I agree with you, man. I wish we got like 10 more minutes with that character. He didn't, you know, he was like, hi, and I'm dead. Or maybe not dead. I'm not sure. But for me, this was the Godzilla that I've wanted to see ever since 14 with the trailers of The Destroyer of Worlds. Like, I love anti-hero / just, I need to do my job, don't get in the way, Godzilla. So every shot of him is just fantastic. I loved how aggressive he is. And I almost kind of like how the director kind of takes some shots at the old movies too. Like in 14 where he wouldn't go through the Golden Gate Bridge. He was just like, I'm not going to do it. And then like saves kids on a bus with his fins. I'm like, this is what is he doing? And then in this movie, he literally stands up early on purpose to destroy that bridge. And you see all the cars falling off. And I'm like, this is Godzilla. This is what I'm here for.
That was tight.
Yeah, I just visually, this movie is everything I've ever wanted to see, and to me, this is the first time it actually felt like a big budget Japanese monster movie, as opposed to an Americanized version of a Japanese monster movie, where the characters are with us, and yes, I absolutely agree, they could be stronger. I don't know why Skull Island is the only movie that actually has good characters in it. I don't get it. Skull Island is like Skull Island is probably the best, most complete movie out of the series still, because it has good human characters and great monster stuff. So I don't get why that's so hard for them to do. You know, considering the best character in here is one that actually doesn't talk. So it kind of says a lot by itself. It's like, but and that was so powerful. Like when the fact that Kong knows sign language, I love that.
Yeah,
absolutely love that.
It's a whole lot better than what happened in 1967. Where they just talk to him and he just nods. Obviously, this wild kaiju ape can understand English and take directions real well and blah, blah, blah. Kong, don't shake the ship.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. And that,
I love the film. The film, but and that's another thing that I tend to hear a lot when it comes to these new Godzilla films. That people tend to say, well, this is not realistic enough. Like when the trailer started popping up, right? And we finally got confirmation that Kong was going to have an axe. And I heard so many different people talking about, oh, man, that's not right.
Which
Kong
is so weird.
have a weapon.
Because, like, that's a total gorilla thing to do, is create... like, they create weapons all the time. I don't to me that's the most realistic thing he could do.
And then when you watch the movie, he actually didn't build it himself. It was like a war weapon.
Ancestral.
It was a war weapon that was left behind. But it's like people point to that. It's like their point of like that's going to kill my suspension of disbelief. And I'm like, you clearly have not seen any of the Showa films.
Yeah.
Because they took so many leaps and bounds with stuff where Godzilla has turned
Yeah,
himself into a giant space metal magnet. He flew, he
Yeah,
talked, but yet a giant gorilla having an axe, that's where you
yeah,
draw the line?
It's
Really?
I know. There's either things that you just don't like about, the series in general, and there's just things that, like, for me, like, the leap in technology doesn't even bother me because, like, how many times has that happened in Godzilla movies all the time? It's like, oh, Mecha King Ghidorah's here, and now we just built a robot. It's like, well, this is literally the exact same thing. Like, here's Kevin's head or Ghidorah's head, and now we're gonna build stuff from, I don't know, his organs or whatever they harvested from that poor boy. But yeah,
that's another thing. I wish they would have done more to flesh out what happened in the 5 years since King of the Monsters. They just thrust us into this new story, and this movie is really predicated on the fact that you watch the previous film. But what if you didn't? So you go into this film wondering, okay, why is that ape in a dome? Why is this giant dinosaur that was once a savior killing folks? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? And like I said, that's something that could have been addressed a whole lot better, in my opinion. It doesn't bring down the movie too much for me, but it is something that is, I found a little bit jarring. And honestly, after I watched, here's the thing, when Sandra and I, when we first watched King of the Monsters back in 2019, it was a fun time. We took two of our grandkids, went to the Alamo Draft House, and we were just,
the best.
It was great. It was great, seeing the old Godzilla commercials and the trailers before the movie came on.
Yeah, Alamo.
of course,
no one does it better than the Alamo in terms of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And our grandkids, of course, they know that we like Godzilla, we love Godzilla, but they're not really avid fans. They'll ask questions every now and then, but it's not like when they come over here, they're like, hey, pop in that movie or whatever. But they acknowledge it, right? But even they were invested in 2019. And after the movie was over, I seriously enjoyed it so much. If we didn't have anything to do that night, I would have spent $120 more because the tickets were that expensive to watch it again. Last night when I watched Godzilla vs. Kong, I didn't have that desire, and it could have been easier for me because all I had to do was push a button. And it just it didn't create that sense of urgency to me to want to watch it again. Now I know I will watch it again. And, I know I will watch it again at least this weekend, at least a few times before it expires at April 30th, I believe. But
I think we get 30 days of it for.
Yeah. So, but the issues that I have with the human story, it's like one of those films that I will basically watch it, skim through it to get to the monster scenes. That's something that I never do in a Godzilla film. I want to enjoy a Godzilla film from beginning to end. I want to appreciate everything about what's going on with the movies. And in my opinion, in order to care what's going on with Godzilla and the monsters that he fights, you kind of have to care about the humans that are put in harm's way because of their fighting. And this movie did not do anything for me with that. I enjoyed the little girl. I enjoyed that. But like I said, the lack of fleshing out who Sarazawa was, just a few things involving the human characters just didn't really sit right with me.
Well, that's kind of where I was going, where like I appreciate. So we've had probably about almost 20 years now of someone trying to make a serious Godzilla movie and like make it work. And obviously I'm a 54, 84, GMK, Shin Godzilla are all fantastic examples of that working. But the one thing that they all have in common, aside from GMK, which I do actually hate Ghidorah and Mothra in that movie, is it's just I don't like their designs. Like, I don't like Ghidorah as a good guy. I totally wish, and that's like one of my favorite movies still. Even though I hate their designs, I just wish that they went with Kaneko's original. Give us Varon, Anguirus, and Baragon. I loved how the movie, instead of going with, like, let's build up the human characters, let's basically tell the story through Kong. I love that Kong this is really more of a Kong movie than a Godzilla movie. I agree. You could virtually say Godzilla is like a supporting character in this, which is fine, because I was I like Kong, but like now I am fully invested in, like, I want more Kong.
Okay.
This was the best he's ever been, and I love Skull. I've said it forever. Skull Island is the best movie of the MonsterVerse until this one, in my opinion. Because when I saw this movie, I was like, I need to see this again. And then when I saw it again, I was like, I need to see this again. And when I saw it again, I was like, Abby, do you want to watch this again? I was like, I can't stop watching this movie because the monster scenes, it's something I've been waiting for like my whole life. It just like seeing monsters actually portrayed as like animals. And granted, obviously that's hard to do with men in suits and stuff like that. So there's always been that limitation. And then even in like Godzilla vs. Kong, they really tried to still preserve that in a sense with getting everyone to be mocapped and all that. And even then that still has its like I don't even think TJ Storm or any of those guys were a part of this movie, right? I don't recall seeing any of that. So I'm pretty sure this was completely just like the animators going nuts. And just giving us some of the like when Godzilla shoots the beam, which apparently seems to last for like 10 minutes, and it's like just tracking Kong across the city, and Kong is literally just like building the building, and it's that low camera angle. Oh my god. Yeah. I was like, this is insane. And then when Godzilla starts crawling on the ground like an alligator is when I literally lost my mind, because I've always hated hearing like Godzilla's slow, Godzilla's like lumbering. So the fact that he was like, all right, I'm done, and he just like gets on the ground where like and just doesn't allow Kong to get up, and then he hits him with the Bruce Lee stomp and twist. I was like, this is it. This is everything I've ever wanted to see in a kaiju movie, man. So good.
Well, to see him when they fell in the water, and I saw Godzilla wrap his tail around Kong.
Yes,
I love that.
That was so cool. Yeah, because that's exactly.
Like,
it's
I've never seen anything like that before, so that was really cool for me. I mean, and the same thing with King Kong. I thought he did excellent fighting. I mean, I thought it was great what Kong did. I just, wished he would have had that younger suit. You wanted Skull Island.
You didn't like the dad bod Kong.
Phenomenal though.
Hey, somebody in the chat, his name I think is Godzilla. He said, Leslie, how's the L feel? It feels good. It feels good. I'll send you a fruit basket with Tic Tacs in it. Anyway.
And to be fair, Godzilla actually did kill Kong. If it wasn't for the human characters, Kong dies. So I just want to point that out.
Again, I would give it that.
He's dead.
I mean, and that's another thing. I'm like, I was proud of Kong. He put up a good effort, a strong effort. But then when they revealed that he's in cardiac arrest, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And he dislocated his shoulder. But like I said, I just enjoy Kong still was struggling to get up. He wasn't willing to lay down. And but like I said, that's called looking strong in defeat, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it actually protects the character. But I have to say, when Mechagodzilla appears, and I'm not saying this to throw shade at Godzilla, but I have never, even though I don't like the design, but the performance was great. I have never ever seen Godzilla get dominated like that.
Yes.
I mean, he may have got maybe one lick in or two, but I have never seen Godzilla just get picked up by the net like Undertaker choke slamming somebody, rammed into a building, flipped over, and just like and Godzilla throw his beam at him, then Mechagodzilla throws a bigger beam. It got to the point where I really felt sorry for Godzilla. I felt like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because I'm still a Godzilla fan through and through, right? Even though I love Kong, I'm still a Godzilla fan.
Yeah, you're allowed to like both characters, man. Like, that's the thing. We're having fun here, but like honestly, I love monsters.
Did you like the Mechagodzilla suit?
I don't really think the design. Yes and no. I don't really think the design is all that great, but what I do love about it is I love how it's practical looking and everything seemed to have a purpose. And this is where Mechagodzilla, like, I became this actually became my favorite Mechagodzilla aside from Showa. Like, this actually hurdled Super Mechagodzilla for me. I'm not a big Kiryu fan. I don't really care for Kiryu at all.
Not the anime either.
Don't mention Mechagodzilla City. Oh God,
I went there, ladies and
so
gentlemen.
bad. Oh God. But when they got when they got supercharged, and then you can hear King Ghidorah's roar, like going into Mechagodzilla to like symbolize that like Ghidorah's taking over. I was like, they basically made Mechagodzilla an alien again, which is what I have been waiting for since I ever came across Showa Mechagodzilla. I love Mechagodzilla being in some shape or form alien related. So I love that they basically gave that a nod. And then, I mean, this Mechagodzilla would destroy every other Mechagodzilla incarnation.
Oh.
This was crazy.
I'm looking for the
yeah,
to come out. I didn't get none of that.
No,
the head was just like
he kind of had them like on the shoulders. He had a lot of missiles out of the shoulders. It looked like, but yeah, no, there was no finger cannons.
That Godzilla was just—he had everything going on. I mean, shoot.
And then to see Godzilla and Kong basically do like an Iron Man Captain America team up, where it's like Kong's got the Captain America shield and Iron Man shooting the beams at it. I was like, this is amazing. And then it brings Kong back because, after being defeated, now, he was the one to now defeat Mechagodzilla because it's so well done. And they give him the big fatality pose, like holding up the head. I was like, this is amazing.
And beating his chest too. Like
oh my God. Yeah, it's just like, this is so good.
That was, like I said, that was the perfect way to honor both characters. Because like I said, I knew that not one of them was going to have a clean sweep in this movie. One of them had to lose, and like I said, I felt like it was they done justice to both the characters, and I love how at the end it looks like they're going to fight, but they both kind of stand down. It's like Kong looks at Godzilla and it's like, okay, you beat me, but then Godzilla looks at Kong like, but hey, I owe you one. So it kind of like, and they just leave it at that. And that's the thing; they don't have to be best friends. It could be like a Godzilla and Rodan Showa thing. They're not best friends, but they acknowledge that there are superior monsters in their own individual way. And so Godzilla goes off, I guess I'm assuming to bring balance to our world, where Kong is the ruler of the Hollow Earth. And in my opinion, there was no other better way to send off this film. And in my opinion, and I know this will create a great debate, but
let's do it.
If this is the end of the MonsterVerse, then I'm perfectly fine. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see more MonsterVerse films. I want to see how they can build upon this and do more, whatever. But at the same time, this series has been around since 2014. I never thought after 2014 that it would get this far. The fact that it got 4 films, and in my opinion, 4 amazing films. Of course, every film ain't perfect. No film is. Except for MonsterVerse Godzilla. But every film wasn't perfect. But as an American attempt or an American adaptation on a foreign character or a foreign property like Toho, like Godzilla, they have done a phenomenal job. They embraced the lore. They embraced the mythology. They incorporated it into these new films and created a new spin and give it a more modern, fresh take. And in my opinion, they done a great job. Was it too much fan service? But you know what? In my opinion, there's no such thing as too much fan service. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that they really gave a damn about the fans. Because Godzilla is not Superman. He's not Batman. He's not like a mainstream icon. Godzilla, he's an icon, but he's a cool icon that comes in for a few years, give you a few movies, and then he goes away again. Godzilla is smart enough to know we can't miss you if you don't go away. So that's why I have no problem if the MonsterVerse just ends, give Godzilla an extended break. Let's see what Toho's going to do, because they're going to do something. This film has created so much buzz and invested interest. And I'm sure, and I think from what I understand, it's the most successful film during this pandemic. Do not think that Toho is not watching this and do not want to take a crack at this. I know money speaks a lot. I know money speaks a lot, but at the same time, I see Toho really want to get back on there and create another hit like Shin Godzilla, not in the same vein as Shin Godzilla, but something along those lines where they want to take a crack at creating a movie involving their character on their terms. That's what I believe.
I believe something completely different. I really don't think. I feel like Toho, in a sense, has always, like back when '98 happened. Even though it made, I mean, at the time, it made the most money a Godzilla film has ever made. But the reception of it was not good by fans and alike. So Toho felt then like, all right, we're taking it back. We're not approving this trilogy because we don't like this and we could do better. And that's why Godzilla 2000 is like littered with scenes from Gino where it's like, see, we can do this. Here's Godzilla swimming underwater in CGI, and then here's Godzilla rising up and like the big bubble when he rises up. It's like, okay, I get it. Yes, you guys can do it too. And then GMK like taking shots at the American Godzilla all day, where it's just like, they say that's Godzilla, but that's not Godzilla. And then Final Wars, obviously, he lasts like, I don't know, 3 seconds. So,
not even that.
And then even with 14. 14, then like they did Shin like what 2 years after. Like 14 was kind of like, all right, guys, you advertise this as a destroyer of worlds, and then you gave us like super friendly, happy Godzilla who swims with the military.
Yeah.
And then like they were like, okay, we're gonna do Shin, and we're gonna make Godzilla like crazy badass again. And then I really feel like we got lucky here, in terms of they filmed King of the Monsters and GVK like back to back.
Sorry.
No problem. Because I 100% feel that after King of the Monsters bombed, unfortunately, and was not well received, that they would have pulled the license right then and there, and that would have been the end. If Godzilla vs. Kong was not basically being wrapped up as King of the Monsters released, I think they would have been like, okay, we're done. But now after this, where this is the first Godzilla movie in my entire existence where people that aren't Godzilla fans like it, like I've never seen that. Like as someone that's been like always trying to like have their friends, like you sit down, you're like, hey man, watch this one. I think you might like it. And they're always like, what is this guy in a suit for? I'm like, you just don't get it. You always got to be like, oh yeah, I know. They're like, it looks corny. I'm like, it doesn't look corny. You're corny. It's like, it's great. What are you talking about? So it's like to finally have a movie where I have like my friends texting me and being like, oh man, the action in this was great. I hope they make another one. No one said that to me during King of the Monsters. Everyone was just kind of like, yeah, that was cool. At least it didn't look like people in suits. And I'm like, you just don't get it. It's just like, whatever. So I don't think, and especially with the money that this one's looks to be making, we'll see, by Sunday or Monday, what this movie did. I just can't see Toho wanting to take it back after this is finally the movie that has like propelled Godzilla to, like you were saying, like almost mainstream now. Like there's the chance now for him to become mainstream, and they don't have to do anything other than just cash in if they just let the movies continue. So I can't see them pulling it back, especially if I don't think they can, typically, in terms of CGI and stuff, they're usually about 10 to 15 years behind. I just can't see them topping anything like this for a while anyway. And especially not if they try to go back to Men in a Suit, as much as I think a lot of purists would love that. I would probably love it. I think there is a sweet spot that can be met with practical effects and CGI. Shockingly enough, Gino is probably one of the best results of that. There were a lot of great animatronics built and stuff like that for that movie.
Yeah.
Shockingly, Shin doesn't have any man in suit action. None. They built that giant robot that they ended up not liking at all, and the entire movie is 100% CGI. It looks fantastic a lot of the times, but I'm not a Shin hater. I'm not a Shin. Aside from when he first walks up and he looks like a giant chicken, that's just hilarious to me. But
don't get Sandra started on Shin right here. Yeah,
I know my good friend John might be watching. He loves Shin, so
yeah. He is watching.
I was gonna say after I like Shin, but I didn't like love and appreciate Shin until I really heard John break it down on the panel you did, I think last month. It was just like I could just listen to John apparently talk. I just felt myself like rewinding it, listening. I'm like, yes, I have to go watch. I have to go rewatch this movie now.
Stuff like that,
so yeah, I don't know. I don't think Toho is going to take it back. I think, especially when we're seeing a lot of them embracing the license in a lot of more like U.S. territories, like Super 7 just got the license and stuff like that. I think they're content right now, and I really do hope we get another one, because Godzilla did just blow a giant hole to the center of the earth, and anything can come out of that.
And that's the thing. I wanted to. I mean, there's nothing I failed to mention earlier. I kind of wish that we could have saw at least a reference, not what we like saw in the beginning of the credits, but I kind of wish that we would have saw like Rodan or Mothra.
Yeah,
like as Kong is traveling through the Hollow Earth, that he comes across Rodan and have like a little mini fight or something like that. I just felt like when you have, for the first time ever, you have in a while, I should say, you have Godzilla, you have King Kong, you have King Ghidorah, you have Mothra and Rodan all within your grasp. Why not do something to incorporate all of it? And Mechagodzilla, forgot about him.
Yeah,
and with a good reason. But I think you have all these iconic Toho characters, basically the big five from Toho and King Kong. You have all of them together. Why not do something where we can get something that we've never seen before? We did get something like that in King of the Monsters, where we see the adult version of Mothra fight, Rodan, right?
But even then, they had a cut to Millie Bobby Brown run into her house for most of that. See, that's where I get into like that movie, kind of like the human characters just distract from the movie, as opposed to like this movie, like these characters, yeah, they're non-existent, but they don't take away from anything. Like they're just cardboard cutouts. You can just literally put anybody there.
Right. And my issue is I just wish they could have done a little bit more in terms of the story. Like I said, this movie, even though I enjoyed it, it felt like the Joss Whedon's Justice League, and now I want a 4-hour Snyder cut.
Now you want the Snyder cut? I mean, I can't disagree there. If there's more of this movie, I'll take it. Exactly, because
I want to see more. I want to see more about the ancient rivalry between Godzilla and King Kong. Now, in King of the Monsters, they did a great job convincing you that Godzilla and King Ghidorah were ancient rivals that are drawn at each other. Mm-hmm. In this film, it felt forced. It felt really, really forced. Not trying to say it's a bad thing, but I think that King of the Monsters did it better with the whole ancient alpha, rivalry between two, alpha titans. But through it all, I thought the film was fun. It could have been better in certain points, but it's no way near one of the the bottom 5 of Godzilla films. Whether that's Godzilla's Revenge or Space Godzilla or no. I don't really care for Tokyo SOS.
Aside from Mothra.
So yeah. So I think through it all, my wife and I, we had a fun time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's been a fun time. And that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I know I've been pro Kong, and I know I talk a lot of crap, because that's what I do, ladies and gentlemen. But it's all out of fun. And let me just say,
it's been a blast,
people out there that didn't, when y'all saw the movie early, and I have friends that stay overseas, and they know I love Kong, but not anybody hit me up and say, and try to rub it in my face before I saw the movie yet that what happened. Y'all were really respectful. Y'all waited until I saw the movie, and then y'all powered on me. So I really do appreciate that you didn't do it before the fact. But the build up to this film has been both fun and exhausting. You know, it's exhausting seeing some of the commentary of some Godzilla fans
sounds
online.
like you started reading this book.
So you started to come to terms with Kong's loss. Actually, you know what? Actually, I came to terms with that like a long time ago. Quite frankly, despite my commentary, I knew Kong, when, like I said, had a 50-50 chance that he was going to lose, and I knew with all the crap that I was dishing out, I know I was going to get it back 50 times over, and I felt it created some fun moments. It created some fun banter back and forth, and I'm glad that you, AJ, my wife Sandra, and everybody that's in chat right now has a high sense of humor, because I know some Godzilla fans out there, if you say anything about pro Kong or anti Godzilla, they're probably going to be at their nearest government building ready to storm it, because
I told him that I said, they're showing that one clip of Kong hitting Godzilla. I said, because that's all they got. I said, because Kong is going to light him up. And soon, Godzilla's going to light him. And as soon as Godzilla shot his breath, they light it
back up.
Said, smell it? Do you smell it? Do you smell the hair burning? Do you
There
smell
was another
it?
great
Do you
moment.
smell it?
There was another great moment when Kong punches Godzilla and Godzilla retaliates, and then Kong gets up and shoulder blocks him, and Godzilla is knocked underwater. He's swimming and he's trying to get a position. I said to Sandra, I was like, he's gonna light him up. He's about to light him up. It's over. It is over.
I just loved all the fighting. Like, this is, I'm not even sure if the same director came back, if he can even top what he just did, honestly. Like, that shot of Mechagodzilla slamming Godzilla's head, like, into the 3 buildings and then the 1 building that's in front of you. It's like, this is incredible. Or Mechagodzilla, when they're like charging at each other, he like uses his like jetpack to like side maneuver him and then grab him from the back and rip him. I'm just like, this is literally like Dragon Ball Z as a Godzilla movie. And I soaked it all in. I loved it. All right, so if you were to the next movie, if there was a next movie, what would you want it to be about? If the MonsterVerse was to continue, what do you got?
I'll tell you what, Sandra, why don't you go first and talk and just say what you want to say, or will you agree with me?
Well, no. What would I like to see?
Yes.
Yeah. Like if there was,
I would like to see
Biollante come back.
I want to see a gigantic Hydra.
So you want to see a Hydra in the MonsterVerse?
Yes, I would love to see that, because we haven't really had any kind of action with that. So I would love to see a Hydra or a Biollante, something around that realm with Godzilla in it, because that's something we haven't seen in a long time. So I would love to see that.
If we're up to me, what I think they can do, basically what you said earlier in our chat. Destroy All Monsters remake, but make it even better, make it even bigger, make it about the monsters this time instead of about a funky flying dragon thingy. They got all the pieces in place. Everything's in place. They just need to have access to more monsters, but only Toho can decide that, quite frankly. Because I think, even though there have been some cool original MonsterVerse monsters, I still think you need another 2 or 3 big names from Toho.
Oh yeah, I think you need to. Yeah, absolutely. You bring in like two or 3 more.
Like Anguirus, maybe Gigan, since we already are open to the possibility of alien kaiju. Mm-hmm. Like Sandra said, Hydra or Biollante. There's plenty that they can choose from. Just don't do Monster X. Just leave that boy alone, because we ain't got time for him.
Or even Anguirus. I love Anguirus.
I don't want this to. Yeah, I definitely don't want a Final Wars remake by any stretch. Which, the way they presented Godzilla, it almost could go that way, which I would not. So if I was to have it, like I said, destroy all monsters, but I want them to cut all of the characters out except for maybe the 3 Kong characters. They can come back, but I want Serizawa to live. When he gets electrocuted, it actually messed up his eye, so we get him back with the eye patch as an amazing nod to the original. He breaks into Monarch, steals the Oxygen Destroyer designs, Creates Destroyer. I've had too much time on my hands. Creates Destroyer. And I think Kyle said it in here earlier too, that he was waiting for one of like the heads of Apex to be an alien. I want him to team up with something of that nature, so we get basically like human created monsters of like Destroyer, Biolante, teamed up with alien monsters like another form of Ghidra comes back or grows back, Gigan, versus like the Hollow Earth monsters led by Godzilla and Kong. So you got like Godzilla, Kong, Anguirus, obviously Rodan, Mothra. Like just do that. I would lose my mind.
I would
and bring this director back, because this is the best action I've ever seen. Just let him monster mash it up with madness.
I will also say bring back Michael Dougherty and bring back Bear McCreary. And here's something that Michael Dougherty said on Twitter.
Bear McCreary was very missed in this movie. That's the only thing that the soundtrack is non-existent. I like the deeper Godzilla thing because like they were trying to be like, look, he's darker. But Bear McCreary is just, his soundtrack is incredible.
But Michael Dougherty said, I think on Twitter that I read online one time, I think he was asked if he were to direct another Godzilla film, what would he do? And if I'm not mistaken, he said he would love to make a Godzilla film where it shows him in prehistoric times. And that really has intrigued me. So I would like to see a prehistoric version of Godzilla, a prehistoric version of Kong, or just a prehistoric version of these kaiju that we love in the dinosaur age. And just like have Godzilla meet Jurassic Park, something like that. Maybe.
Yeah, just flat out do. Yeah, I think he said he wanted to do a MonsterVerse movie with no humans. Like, this is just the story of
the monsters.
Like this is, and I mean, I'm down. Clearly, I'm down because the human characters in this don't bother me because again, they don't get in the way, and that's all I was hoping for. Because after so many attempts of making a realistic Godzilla movie, I was finally glad to see that this director was like, you know what? Let's just make a fun, entertaining roller coaster of a movie and deliver the best action sequences in maybe any monster movie ever. I really can't think of anything that comes close to this.
Yeah, something else I thought would be cool if they'd go back to Skull Island and have Kong and Godzilla and Mothra and Rodan over there, and then have like King Ghidra drop through the atmosphere onto the island. You see what I'm saying?
You mean like a monster island, then like maybe King Ghidra leaves like a horde of space monsters. Yeah, have like a giant melee brawl.
Yeah, so they just protecting their Skull Island.
I mean, but either way, quite frankly, this film was fun. I think this film was something that the MonsterVerse needed. I think it was something that the fans needed because we all been going through this pandemic, right? We all been going through it. It hasn't been the best in the world for the past year. So we needed this type of break or this type of escapism to try to take our mind things. And I think it succeeded. Now, when you think about the MonsterVerse, it was grounded with 2014. Then it got kind of lighthearted with Skull Island. Still a little bit grounded. It was a period piece. Then it kind of went off the rails and went totally sci-fi with King of the Monsters. And this one went more sci-fi. It's basically like the Showa series from 54 to 62 to 65. It's like a natural progression because you can't have Godzilla stay the same throughout every single film, otherwise it gets stale. So I like the natural progression from grounded and dark to lighthearted and fun, which would have made the Showa series so awesome. But with that being said, like I said, we enjoyed the film. It could have been better in certain aspects, but the kaiju action, the reason why we were there in the first place, even though the human action was kind of like, kind of down. Yeah. But the reason that we were there, Godzilla versus Kong, delivered. And so if you've not seen this movie, I don't know what's wrong with you, quite frankly. But you need to stop what you're doing. After we're done with this stream or this discussion, go on HBO Max or go to your local theater or whatever and, mask up, obviously. But watch this film. You will, if you're a kaiju fan that loves just seeing giant monsters duke it out, I think you enjoy it. And also, I believe, I also love how this film is really like an inverted version of King Kong versus Godzilla, where in the original, Kong was like more the aggressor. He wanted to fight Godzilla before he found out he could breathe fire, of course. He was really the
Yeah.
aggressor and wanted to fight. This time, Godzilla was the aggressor against Kong. When they fought the first time, it was on Mount Fuji in the middle of nowhere, quite frankly. So you really didn't get a sense of how big these monsters were. It was like seeing basically a guy in a rubber dinosaur suit and an ape suit. Not trying to knock anything what they did. It just kind of like diminished them in scale. This time they're in Hong Kong, one of the best looking cities on the planet, especially at night with the neon lights and bouncing off the monsters. Kong is jumping off of buildings, trying to dive on Godzilla, use his agility and his speed and quickness to his advantage, while Godzilla's like a walking tank just lumbering around trying to find out where he is. It's like this fight scene delivered truckloads and truckloads of fun. And like I said, if you've not seen Godzilla vs. Kong, please remedy that as soon as possible. Go check it out. I think you will enjoy
it. Before you go, Matt brought this up in our group, and I have to talk about it because I'm convinced that this is what it is.
What's up?
Oh, I gotta blow it up. Hold on. Gotta make it bigger. 1 second. Oh, no. I'm failing. This is a failed attempt.
While you pulling it up, let me address a comment in the comment section. Godzilla says, or Godzilla, he said, can we talk about Godzilla smiling when he
yes. Oh my God, yeah.
I thought that was cool. And
he's kind of smiling and laughing. Yeah, he was just like, I got you.
I know Godzilla is not really a full-blown heel or full-blown villain in this film, but the fact that he rises up out of the ocean with the fire and the flames surrounding him, which was a gorgeous shot right away.
Oh my God, yeah.
He sees Kong basically comatose on the barge. All the ships are dead in the water. He just gives like a little smirky grin, like, yeah, I did that. And that was a really like Ric Flair type of heelish move where, and even I was like, I can't knock him for doing that. I can't blame him for doing that. And there's another thing. I love how they gave both Godzilla and Kong in this film a personality.
Yes.
And they weren't just cardboard cutout monsters or big dumb monsters that roar and break stuff. You really got behind their characters. Quite frankly, they kind of had more characters than the humans did.
Which is
about pissed off game.
Which is what I loved.
That was fierce. When he first started, he was pissed. And I loved it.
Yeah.
I know. Same thing. When he like just showed up and like his literally introduction scene is just him destroying stuff, I'm like, and I'm here. I'm absolutely here.
Yeah.
Because this is what I've been waiting for. I really, it never played well with me with always him sailing, swimming with the ships, or even in King of the Monsters where the military comes like right behind him as if, he was the cavalry for them. I'm like, this is just stop it. I just want to see him destroy stuff by himself.
Me too.
And now we finally got that.
They treated him like a surrogate pet, which I didn't really.
Yeah, like he was like benevolent. This benevolent monster that just helped out the military. They might as well just slap a U.S. shield on him or something and give him a helmet. It's like, okay.
But this time, Godzilla, he's obviously changed a little bit. He's swatting planes out of the sky. Normally, he kind of went out of his way to not intentionally hurt anybody. But this Godzilla still didn't care. And it just shows that, yes, Godzilla is still a protector. He's still a savior and somewhat. But he is still Godzilla. Don't get that twisted.
Exactly.
He can change. He is still dangerous. He is still he can be a threat if we cross him wrong. So I really do like how they kind of like had Godzilla teetering between villain and hero a little bit. He had them walking that line a little bit, and I actually liked that. It was a change of pace from the good guy Godzilla that we've seen in the prior two movies.
And I also love that they basically just had him in the intimidation display like the whole movie, where his fins are like. His fins are lit up. His eyes are always lit up. I'm like, he looks incredible all the time. Mm-hmm. And that scene where he blows the hole into the hollow earth and then like roars and then, they roar back at each other. I love that. I love when Kong comes out. Godzilla is actually walking away and he's just like turns around. He's like, oh, you actually showed up? Like, it was just like, what? Like, it was so awesome. It's like you said, like they just had so much personality to them. He was just like, oh, all right, we're gonna do this then. I didn't think you'd come. You know, it's like, what? This is great. But all right, before
Ashley Sandra said something else when Godzilla turned around. when Kong comes out, he puts the axe, he carves it into the dirt, or at least into the earth, and uses the prime step out of the hole. And Godzilla just turns around like, Sandra's like, oh, you bat, bitch.
yeah, pretty much. That's exactly the expression he had. He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna dance now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but all right. So Matt showed this. Do you think that's actually Minya? Because he's got the spines on the back, the eyes and mouth are similar, and the skin texture is similar. I'm kind of wondering. I kind of can't unsee it. Is this the MonsterVerse version of Minya? Especially since they had Godzilla on all fours in this movie. And I apologize. I think I'm covering Sandra's face. Let me see if I can move this.
No, that's fine.
Let's just leave Minya in Final Wars, and I'll just leave it there. No, but seriously, folks, if you're not seeing Godzilla vs. Kong, please check it out. Like myself, my beautiful wife Sandra, my awesome friend AJ, you know, even though we don't particularly agree on every single thing about this film, but the one thing we do agree on that the film was fun, they delivered on the kaiju action, and if you're a kaiju fan and you've been following the MonsterVerse, you owe it to yourself to watch this film. And if you're one of those fans that have only watched the MonsterVerse films, the current films, you owe it to yourself to try and go back and watch the classic ones. You ain't got to watch every single one of them, because not every single one of them are winners. But try and go back and watch a few of the classic ones just to show you where Godzilla came from, how he evolved to where he is today. Start with the original, then work your way through the show a little bit, Heisei Millennium or whatever. And like I said, watch Godzilla vs. Kong.
Absolutely.
You will have a fun time. Am I right, babe?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yep. If you don't have HBO Max, it's $15. Take it for the month. Mortal Kombat comes out in 2 weeks. You won't be disappointed.
Right.
I love HBO Max, by the way. I don't know if anyone watches anything else on there, but the fact that they have like every Godzilla movie for the most part on there, plus a lot of horror stuff, which I also enjoy.
Yeah.
So shout out to HBO Max for making this out, and the Snyder Cut. Hello.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Snyder Cut? We good to
I've only watched half of it because, you know, my wife and I, we work a lot, so we don't really have time to really sit down and watch movies like we used to.
Yeah, 4 hours. Yeah, that's usually not in everyone's.
4 hours, you know. So we're working through it piece by piece. I think we're at the point where where they're covering Cyborg's backstory, and that's as far as we got.
Yeah, but Cyborg is fantastic in this movie.
Right.
I have no idea. I get you can't fit all this stuff into a 2-hour movie, but them butchering Cyborg's character is like, why? He's like literally the heart and soul of the movie.
Yep.
I heard about that.
Yes, like he really is. Like his character is incredible. And the fact that, you know, Whedon literally reduced him to just, I'm not a monster. You know, it's like, oh wow, okay, yeah, woo. You know, it's a shame. But anyway, yeah, if you haven't seen the Snyder Cut, everybody, I also recommend that. It's really nice to see that it's actually turned people around that don't really like Zack Snyder. Because like I'm not even a big fan of Batman vs Superman, but Snyder Cut's where it's at.
Right. But we want to thank you, AJ, for having us on.
Oh yeah.
I know this has been a long time coming. Cause I know you want to get at me ever since I first made my first pro Kong comment, and I'm sure I haven't seen the last of it. You know, I'm sure there's more coming. But you know what? We've had a fun time. It's all about having fun, ladies and gentlemen. Once the fun is gone, there's no point of doing this anymore. So we really appreciate you having us on. We look forward to, you know, doing more things with you in the future, like I know we will. Everybody, please subscribe to Kaiju Live. You know, AJ we'll be working some things, and he'll be back. I will say maybe a couple weeks with a brand new look, I think.
Yeah, man, this has been I think I bit off a little more than I can chew, but I'm trying to get it done.
But either way, he's a fun guy. He has a fun show. He offers great products at great prices. And you cannot find a better guy to do this than the one and the only great AJ Russo. Thank you so much for having us here.
Dude, no one does.
Everybody in the chat.
No one does send-offs like you, man. I don't even know. Like, it's a gift you have. Again, everyone's here watching Kaiju Live. If you don't know who Leslie is, absolutely subscribe to my guest channel, Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews, because Leslie is just an amazing guy. I love having you guys on. I wish if Kelly wasn't baking a cake, I wish we could have had the Kaiju couples thing part 2, but unfortunately, and then
that'll come.
Then my dad didn't. My dad hasn't even seen the movie, everybody, which is a blow up. Everyone just go destroy my dad right now. It's unbelievable. But all right, thank you so much. Yeah, man, it's a great time. Have a good night, everybody, and hopefully I'll see you all soon.
All right. Bye,
you.
guys.
Good night.
We holla.
I'm gonna look at what people are saying.